I sent an investigator with nothing but the table, the chairs, and that damn fake meal. They think I'm guilty since I'm the only one who survived this traumatic innocent. My blood-stained floor, ripped clothes, and this damn heavy bandage around my alarmed colored eye. I stared at the fake meal, looking at myself, seeing how pathetic I am. I keep staring at myself until the scratching sound of the door brought me back to reality. I look over the officer and the ambulance, which is a type of Bridget shepherd walking in. They sat across from me, staring at me, until the officer cleared his throat. Good evening, Chase. I am Officer Laxco, and this here is Officer Bingle. We're here to ask some questions, Laxco says, placing his hands on the table. I stared at them with tremulous eye, my body shaking. I couldn't make a noise. I just stared at them blankly. Chase, we need to know what happened that night, Laxco says. I opened my mouth, but no words came out. I stared at them awkwardly, then I closed my mouth, not saying anything. Maybe you feel comfortable if you talk to me, Officer Laxco, Bagel says, looking up at me. He nodded and got up from his chair and headed out of the room, closing the door behind him, and now it's me and Bangle alone. Okay, Chase, now it's that you and me only. Tell me everything you remember from start to finish, he says with a charming, comfortable voice. From the start to finish, thinking about the innocent all over again. I thought to myself, breathing heavily. We stared at each other for a while. He's never gonna give up until I answer so. I opened my mouth and spoke. Fine, I'll tell you everything. I looked at the fake meal. I know they're behind that fucking meal, and they think I did it. I know they won't believe my story at all. I turned my head back towards Bangle. I inhaled, then exhaled, and I began my story. I walked around town trying to find something to do for me and the pups. There's nothing around eventually for us to do, I thought to myself. I then saw Mel Goodway sitting behind a table with random junk on it. I walked towards her and started exclaiming the stuff. Good morning, Chase. Find anything that interests you? She says excitedly with Chicolato picking some corn in her purse. I look up in the back of the stuff. My eyes wandered around piles of junk until my eyes focused on the old camcorder that Mel Goodway spoke. Ooh, I see you're interested in my camcorder. I remember my mother bought me this, and we made so much memories from this. I picked the camera up in my mouth and started walking towards the lookout until Mel Goodway stops me. Oh, Chase, wait! You need these. I turned towards her, and she hands me a bag with SD cards in it. I made it to the lookout and entered through the door. The other pups look over at me and then came running towards me. Chase, you're back! Marshall says excitedly. Where have you been? Sky says concerned. Yeah, and where do you get? Zuma asked, staring at the camcorder that was in my mouth. Oh, this scene? Mel Goodway was doing a yard sale, and I got this camcorder along with SD cards, I said, wagging my tail. The pups stared at me with a confused look. Then they looked at the camcorder that was in my mouth. Why did you get a camcorder? Sky asks, confused. Oh, I figured we'd do something together, and I could record memories about it for the future, I said with an excited voice. Like what? Martra asks with raising an eyebrow. What about camping? I suggest. The pups thought about it for a while, but then Walkie spoke up. Well, unlike all of you, I think camping is a good idea for us. We've been cooped up inside for a while. Why not go on a nice vacation for this weekend? The pups thought about it and they looked at me. Rocky's right. Maybe a nice camping trip is a good idea, Timon says, smiling and putting his paw around Rocky's shoulder. The other pups agreed to begin packing their stuff. I wandered around, making sure everyone didn't leave anything behind. I turned my head towards Wubble, who was sneakily shoving something in his bag. Wubble, what are you doing? I said, walking towards him. He jumps a little, and he looks towards me with another smile. Nothing. I looked at him with a sharp stare like a blade through his eyes. He gave up and opened the bag revealing pup treats. Me and the others started laughing. After everyone was done packing, we got into our vehicles and drove off to the woods. Hours later, we were still on the road. I took a look at my GPS, and we were a few hours away from the parking lot. Chase, are we there yet? Bubble asked over his pup tag. Only a few more minutes. Then we'll be there, I replied with a smile on my face. We made it to the parking lot, and we parked our cars, and we got our vehicles and began stretching. I haven't sat in my car that long in a while, I said, scratching my back legs, and I said the other stretching as well. We got done stretching, we began our walk to find a good spot to set up our camp. We walked for almost hours and hours, and our paws began to hurt. Chase, are we almost there? My paws hurt, Marshall says. I took the map out of my bag and I looked at the map. I then turned towards the others. Just up ahead, we'll start up camp, I said, smiling at them. We continued to walk until we got to the spot and we set up camp. It was almost nighttime, so we decided to make a fire. You know, my paws hurt, but it was worth it, Marshall says, laughing. We all laughed after him. Wubble, do you still have our pup treats? Sky asks, looking at the bulldog. Wubble looks inside the bag and hands out some of the treats. We all ate our food and then headed to bed. I wasn't tired, so I stayed up a little late. I pulled a book and a flashlight out of my bag. Off? Claw, I quietly said. The claw came out of my pup pack and gripped to the flashlight. I began reading my book. I awoke a few hours later, book still in my paws and my flashlight on the ground. I guess I fell asleep. I thought to myself. I turned the flashlight off and lie down. But before I could sleep, I heard a noise. Huh? What's that noise? I thought to myself. I looked down and saw my camcorder next to me. I grabbed it and started recording. It is 3 a.m, and I hear a noise outside the tent, I said quietly while opening the tent. I poked my head out along with my camcorder and listened closely. It was the sounds of sticks snapping or something like that. I continued to listen, but the noise stopped. I couldn't hear anymore. It stopped? Whatever it was, we were probably getting fireworks. I thought to myself. I went back inside my tent and stopped recording. I put the camcorder into my bag, then went to sleep. The next morning, I awoke to a snoring Marshall. I sat up and looked over the sleeping Dow and shook my head. I got out of the tent and looked up into the bright blue sky and the bright yellow sun that was in the sky shining over the woods. The sun's still coming out. Better let them sleep a bit longer. I guess I could do a morning workout while I wait, I said to myself as I walked over to the giant log. I did some push-ups on the giant log and tried doing pull-ups on a steady branch. I always count while doing pull-ups or push-ups. 10, 11, 12, 13. I counted while doing pull-ups. When I tried to do another, the branch broke, and I fall into the ground, making a loud thud and a loud groaning, waking up the other pups. Walkie comes out of the tent, groaning. Chase, is it really necessary to work out in the morning? Sorry, Walkie. It's just a habit. I said, laughing a little. The others wake up minutes later, and now everyone was outside the tents. Okay, pups, what should we do today? I asked them with a smile. They started thinking of what can we do today. Maybe we can find a pond and swim in it, Sky suggests. Or maybe we can tell each other stories, Marshall says, smiling. I got one. Maybe we can search for ghosts. Ha ha! Someone says in a powered voice. All of us stared at them with a look on our faces. He laughs and says, Dudes, I'm joking. I know there aren't any ghosts. Well, besides Zuma, anyone got anything to do? I asked, staring at them. What about hiking? Walkie asked with a smile on his face. Not a bad idea. Maybe I can use my camcorder to record us hiking and short it to wider when we get back, I said excitedly. The other pups howled in excitement as they got ready to go on a hike. As everyone was ready to begin our hike, I took out my camcorder and called for my claw. I let my claw hold the camcorder and faced towards the other pups. Does it actually work, Chase? Marshall asked carelessly. Yes, Marshall, I don't think Mel Goodway will give me a broken camcorder, I replied, laughing. I put my claw down and faced the camcorder while I was recording in front of me. After a few hours later, we all take a break, and thanks to the clouds giving us shade, we aren't as hot as sweaty as we thought we were going to be. Thank goodness for a cloudy day, Walkie said, smiling. The other pups agreed with him. I turned the camcorder to the sky, then back down and towards Walkie. This camcorder is actually pretty cool. I can see Walkie clear as day, I said, smiling, zooming in on Walkie's nose, giggling a little. Chase, stop recording me. I don't like being recorded, he says, covering his face with his paw. As we are laughing, I hear some strange noise from last night and points the camcorder towards whatever the noise was coming from. Marshall noticed me and sits next to me. What you doing, Chase? He asks. I heard a noise last night, and now I'm hearing it again, so I want to catch it on the camera, I said, looking at him. But I can't seem to find where it's coming from, I added. Marshall looked at me, then giggles like a kid. Chase, you're worried about a simple noise? It could have been a deer or a squirrel, or maybe a bird, he said, staring at me. I looked at him, then sighed. Yeah, maybe you're right. I'm probably worrying about nonsense, I said, smiling at him, then stops recording. We head back to our camp, and by the time we made it back, it was already the afternoon. So since it's still light out, you guys can do whatever you like. As for me, I'm going to see if I can catch some stuff in the camcorder, I said, smiling. The others smiled back, and we went off either talking or sleeping in their tents. I walked off somewhere not too far from the camp. I began searching for something to record. I pressed the record on my camcorder and just basically recorded the trees in the ground. I was still recording until I heard sticks breaking behind me. I turned around and... Boo! Marshall yells, making me scream and dropping the camcorder. Marshall! I yelled, picking out the camcorder. He laughed a little, staring at me. Sorry, Chase, I couldn't help myself. Jeez, Marshall, don't you think you almost gave me a freaking heart attack? I said, staring at him. He looks at me with expiration changed from laughing to nervous. Oh, sorry, Chase. I just want to prank you, he said in a nervous tone. I smiled and gave him a hug. Marshall, it's fine. I'm not mad. Just don't scare me like that. I could feel him hug back, and we headed back to camp. Me and Marshall started an hour fire, and the pups wanted to tell scary stories. Everyone told a story, then it came to Zuma. I got a story that'll keep you all night, he says with a sinister smile. Okay, then scare us, Rocky says, snickering. Once in a dark, deep woods, a man who went by the name of Stitchface lived in the old house in the middle of the woods. If anyone dared to enter the old house, he grabs their victims and slices their cheeks open, giving his victims a cynic grin. A young girl went by the name of Mika entered his house. Without knowing who he was captured by Stitchface and sliced her cheeks, ear to ear, giving her that grin. But after he did, Sochi turned to him, jump out at him, and Zuma stopped and stared at us. We all huddled up each other, shaking like the top of Jake's mountain. What happened? What happened? We all asked. She ate his face right off. Zuma yells make us scream in terror. Zuma laughs as he stared at us. Dudes, it's a joke. Absolutely, I remember the story from Tracker. His grandma told to him before, he says as he sits down to the log. We all laughed afterwards, then we went to bed. Once again, I wasn't really tired. Not by Zuma's story, but I just wasn't tired. I take the camcorder out and face it towards me and press record. It is Saturday night. Tomorrow's our last day here, and I can't wait to show Ryder this camcorder. I record our hiking trip. Montrose scaring me, and everyone's scary story. It would be the best thing ever. I was caught up on the familiar noise. I heard before. I unzipped my tent and peeked outside. Hello? I called out. I scanned the area with the camcorder and flashlight, but I couldn't see anything. It is just my imagination, I thought to myself. I went back into my tent and looked at the camcorder. Guess it was a curse. I couldn't hear it anymore. See you tomorrow, I said, stopped the recording and putting the camcorder back into my bag. I lied down and closing my eyes. I went to sleep. I wake up to the sounds of the snoring Dow again. I sat up and headed towards the tent's entrance. I unzipped the tent and stepped out. Before I could go any further, I tripped and fell onto the ground. I looked what I had tripped on and saw a pile of rocks. What the heck? I said to myself, confused. I look around trying to see if anyone was around, but nobody was around. Must be another one of Martha's prints again, I thought to myself, then began on my morning workout. A few minutes later, I finished my workout and began to wake up the other pups. Pups, time to wake up, I yelled. The other pups tiredly walked out of their tents and sat in a line next to each other. Good morning, pups. Today is our last day here, so let's do something to make this day memorable. I smiled at them. They look at each other, then back at me. But what should we do? Sky asked. I thought about it for a moment, but can't think of anything. How about we take a photo in a beautiful area? Sky suggests. Yeah, that sounds fun, Zuma says, smiling. But where should we take the photo? Marshall asks, raising an eyebrow. We thought about it for a minute. Then Sky spoke. What about the sign in the parking lot? Not a bad place to take the photo, Sky, I said with a smile. The other pups agreed and started hollering. After a few seconds later, I felt something hit my head. Huh? What's that? I thought to myself as I looked up in the sky and saw gray clouds covering the sky. Looks like it's about to rain, I said, looking up at the sky. The others looked up at the sky as well, then back down. I guess today we can stay inside our tents, I said, looking at them. We all go inside our tents and listen to the sweet, relaxing sounds of the rain hitting our tents. I fell asleep and then woke up hours later to see darkness outside the tent. It's dark already? Jeez, how long have we been sleeping? I thought to myself, rubbing my eyes. I go over to the tent's entrance and unzip the tent and poke my head out. And poke my head outside. Jeez, I never knew it would get this dark. Luckily, we'll be able to sleep in the morning. I thought to myself again, then head back to my tent. Before I could go back to sleep, I had the feeling that someone was watching me. I looked over at Marshall to see he was asleep. I shrugged it off and lied down. I closed my eyes, but I couldn't go back to sleep. I sat up again and turned on my flashlight. Maybe somebody can give me time. I thought to myself and began reading. While I was reading, I heard a familiar noise. It's that damn noise. Maybe if I ignore it, it will stop. I thought to myself as I continued reading. It was about the next day when I woke up. I opened my eyes, saw my flashlight 2 inches away from me and my book on my face. I saw it up and went outside of my tent and began doing my morning stretches. Doing your stretches, Mr. Morning Person? Walkie sits behind me, startling me. Ah! Jeez, Walkie, when did you wake up? I said, placing my paw on my heart. Oh, a few hours ago. I woke up to the blinding sight of your flashlight at 6:54 in the morning, he says with a frustrated tone. I blushed embarrassed and nervously giggled. Sorry, Walkie. I couldn't sleep, so I decided to read a book to help me sleep. Guess I fell asleep while reading again. I said, my face turned red of embarrassment. He rolled his eyes and spoke. Well, we're leaving today, right? Yeah, would you like to wake up the others so we can pack our stuff up? I asked, looking at him. He nods and wakes the other pups by shaking their tents. After everyone was awake, we pack up our tents and the camping stuff. Then we began our journey back to the parking lot. I think we had tons of fun, right? I asked, smiling. Yeah, though I wish we could have done more stuff, Bubble says. Ooh, if we do this again, can we go somewhere where there is a pond? Simon said, wagging his tail. Ooh, a pond sounds nice. We can fish there, Sky says, barking. I smile at everyone's suggestions. It makes me happy to hear different places to go for our next trip. Hours went by, and we still haven't made it back to the parking lot. Chase, are we there yet? Marshall asks. I stopped walking, and so did anyone else. I then took out the map and took a look at it. We should have been in the parking lot already, I said, confused. What do you mean? We should have been there. We've been walking for hours, Sky says, also confused. Maybe we took a wrong turn somewhere, but I guarantee we'll be in the parking lot soon, I said. Everyone groaned in frustration. How about a break? I suggested. We all sat down, taking a small break. We continued walking different paths and shortcuts, and we still haven't gotten there. Hours went by, and yet we still haven't gotten to the parking lot. Chase, I'm about to lose my cool. We have been walking for hours now. Where are we? Sky says, getting ugly. Trust me, Sky, I know where we are, I said, trying to calm her down. Clearly not. Just give me the map, for goodness sake, she says, wrenching the map out of my paw. She takes a look at the map and drops the map into my chest. We're going north. That's where the parking lot is, she said, frustrated. As we are walking, we stumble upon a flowing river with a tree that was probably cut down to make a bridge to get across. Okay, we should walk across steadily so we don't fall, I said, carefully walking across with everyone behind me. We all made it across and we continued walking. We stopped for a small break and sat down. Chase, do we still have more treats? I'm starving, Simon says, looking at me. Yeah, I think so. Bubble should still have treats in his bag, I told the Choco Lab. Bubble gave me a nervous smile as the nervous opened his bag to reveal it was empty. ate all of them? He sips nervously. We all stared at him with left a shocked look plastered all over his face. All over our face. You ate all of the treats? Someone yells with an angry look on his face. I'm sorry. I thought... What the hell were you thinking? Zuma, calm down, Rocky says, gently pulling Zuma back. Why should we calm down? We lost and starving all because of this fat ass can't stop eating for more than 10 minutes. Zuma yells, pulling his paw at Bubble. Bubble gaps at what Zuma said, then starts tearing up and then runs away. Good going, Zuma. Now look what you did, Sky says, staring at Zuma. It's not my fault, Sky. You know it's true, the Chocolate replies with snarly tone. Okay, guys, let's calm down. Look, Marshall and I will go find Wubble. You three stay here. We'll be back, I said, looking at the other pups. Marshall and I tied Wubble around our waists so we won't get lost when we found Wubble. We went into the woods calling Wubble's name. Wubble! Wubble! I yelled, looking for him. Where could he be? Marshall asked, looking in my direction. I don't know, Marshall. I shrugged while having a worried look at my face. To be honest, I never saw Zuma got that angry before, Marshall noted, looking down on the ground. Me neither. He always been a good pup. But when he said those words, it felt like the word flows, I noted. We kept walking, but no sign of Wubble anywhere. When I looked up at the sky, I noticed it was getting dark. Get your head back. It's getting dark, I said, looking at Marshall. We made it back to everyone, excluding Wubble was still there. We made it back, but no sign of Wubble, I said with a sad tone. I noticed Zuma glaring at me with an angry look. He must have noticed I was looking at him because he turned his gaze away from me. Anyways, it's getting dark. We should set up camp again, I said, taking my bag off. Everyone took their bags off too and set up the tents, and they went to the tents. Later in the night, I woke up the sun of my tent unzipping. I sat up and see Marshall leaving the tent. Marshall, what are you doing? I said, accidentally studying the Dalmatian. Jeez, Chase, it's nothing. I just... He sighs and walked towards me and sat down, turning on the flashlight. After he did, I saw a tear rolling down his face. I just want Wubble back, he said, quietly crying. I patted his shoulder and pulled him for a hug. It's okay, buddy. I'm sure we find him, I said, patting his back. Promise? He said, sniffing. I promise, I replied. I looked at him, seeing a smile on his face. He then zipped the tent up and snuggled closer to me. Mind if I sleep next to you? He asked me. I gave a small chuckle, then I replied with, I don't mind. I turned the flashlight off. Then me and Marshall went to sleep. The next morning, I woke up to Marshall shaking me harshly. Chase! Chase! He yells. I sat up and vanished the fact he woke me up a little like that. What? I said, trying not to raise my voice. I found Wubble's backpack, he says with a nervous tone. I look at him with a look of worry. Only his backpack? I asked with a nervous tone. Marshall nods and gestures for me to come out of the tent. My eventual mood switched to worried real quick when I went outside of the tent. What about Wubble? I asked with a shaky voice. The Dalmatian takes me to the backpack, but when I look at the back, there were stains of red and tears all over the bag. It even looked like it was dragged over rocks and dirt from how damaged it looked. Oh my gosh, I said, trying not to shed a tear. Where do you find it? I asked, turning my head towards the Dalmatian. I found it right here, in this exact spot, he said, staring at me. I looked away, seeing the bag just makes me want to give up. Marshall, pack up the tent. We're leaving today, I said with a scared but tough tone. I got everyone up and we all pack our stuff up. Some of the pups noticed the bag and asked about it, but I tell them to forget about it. We continue our walk, trying to make our way to the parking lot, but we still haven't made it. At this point, I'm about to give up, Sky says with an angry and depressed tone. Look, I get it. We're hungry, tired, and cold. But we're going home one way or another, I said with confidence in my voice. They all stare at me with a doubtful look. Chase is right, guys. We can't give up now. If we were truly lost, why do we have noticed and call us by now? Marshall says, wrapping his paw around my shoulder. Marshall, we're in the woods, with no service, Wacky says with a disappointed look on his face. Oh, right, the Dolly says, embarrassed. Can we go now? Zuma says, pissed. I nodded, then we continued our walk. I still thought about the bag, but tried to brush it off in my mind and continue our walk. We walked for hours and hours with our paws hurting like hell. We came across a foreign river with a tree that looked like it was cut over across the river to make a bridge. Wait, is that? No. Someone yells, even more pissed off. That's the same gosh darn bridge, he adds while yelling. I stared at it, shocked at the fact we came across the same bridge. No, it can't be. It's not, I said with my tears filling up in my almond-colored eyes. How can that be? Sky says, sitting down. We've been walking away from it, right? Why? Why are we here? Marshall says, tearing up as well. Everyone sat down, either pissed or bawling their eyes out. I want to give up right then and there. Why the fuck are we here? I thought to myself. I look up at the cut down tree and decide to walk in the water instead. Chase, what are you doing? Martrax wiping his tears away. I'm fucking done with this shit. I want to go home, I yelled, getting the others' attention. I continued walking and getting my paws wet from the water and making it across. Now it's your guys' turn. Come on, I said angrily. They walked across the river steadily without falling, and we continued our walk. As we were walking, I looked inside my bag and saw the camcorder. I took it out and began recording. Chase, is it really now the best time to record? Sky asked. I ignored her question and just continued walking. We walked about for a few minutes later until I asked, Sky, can you get the map from my bag? Sky agreed and looked into my bag. Chase is not in here, she says, confused. What do you mean it's not in there? Check again, I said. She checks my bag for a second time. It's not in there, Chase, she said with a more moody tone. I scoffed angrily and took my bag off and handed my camcorder to her. I unzipped my bag and ran much through seeing the map is not in there. Where is the map? I said, looking at the other pups. No one answered. Complete silence. Nothing but birds and insects. Which one of you has the map? I said, getting really pissed off. And once again, nobody answered. I looked at Marshall, then at Wacky, at Sky, then Zuma. I swear, if one of you doesn't answer me, I will... I was caught off by Zuma laughing. What's so funny, Zima? Macho asked, looking at the young chocolate lab. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I ate the map. I can't help myself. I snuck into your tent and took it, then ate it. He says, staring into my eyes. Everyone was shocked. We all stared at him. You better be fucking joking, I said with my eyes wide and slowly getting towards him. I'm not, he said with a snarly tone. I walked towards him with a pissed off look and I showed my teeth. What the fuck is wrong with you? Are you out of your darn mind? I yelled, charging at him. I attacked Zima, pinning him to the ground, and started punching him while yelling and swearing at the chocolate lab. Sky dropped the camcorder and watched over me, trying to pull me off along with Montreal, then eventually pull me off, jogging me away from Zima. You fucking idiot! I yelled. Zima stops up with a black eye, breathing heavily, staring at me. What the fuck is wrong with you? I yelled at Zima, who has been comforted by Waki. Well, maybe if that fucking bulldog wouldn't be eating all our food and won't be starving now, would we? He yelled back. Okay, enough, both of you! Marshall screams. The dolly stands up between, breathing heavily, tears rolling down his face. Just, please, shut the fuck up, both of you! He says, looking at us. Marshall breathes slowly and looks at us. I don't care how. I don't care when. I don't care when we go. Just take us home and fucking make up before I kill both of you. The Dalmatian yells, staring at us with intense expiration. Do I make myself clear? He says, calming down a bit. It was quiet. Super quiet. Do I make myself clear? He yells again, staring at us. Yes. Me and Zuma reply with cheeky voices. Mantra walks off a few feet away from us and sits down, meditating. We took a long break for us to calm ourselves. I hear Mantra walking towards me with a serious look in his face. Oh no. Is he going to yell anymore? I thought to myself, preparing to get yelled at. But he simply hugged me. I could hear him crying a little. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to yell. I was just scared. And I just want to go home. He says through tears. I hug him back, accepting his apology. I would never stay mad at you. I would never stay mad at my best friend. To be honest, you yell louder than my dad. I said, laughing a little. He chuckles a little, then wipes his tears away. I hear Zuma walking over to me, and a sudden look on his face. I'm sorry I ate the map. He stopped talking and hugs me tightly. I just want to go home. I miss Ryder. I miss Captain Turbot. I miss everyone. I just want to go home. He said, sobbing deep in my shoulder. I couldn't hold it anymore, and I cried too. I want to go home too. I want to go home, I said, hugging Zuma back. Waki looks down as tears left his eyes, hitting the floor. Mantra takes a little from fear as he hides his face away. Sky suddenly cries as tears fell down her face like a waterfall. I pulled Zuma off of me until we were face to face. I'm sorry for punching you. I was scared and cold and hungry like you, Zuma, I said, wiping my eyes with my paw. We forgave each other and hugged each other again. I looked up at the sky and noticed it was getting dark. Gosh darn it, I said, letting go of Zuma. What's wrong, Jace? Marshall says. It's getting dark, I replied. Does that mean we have to set up camp again? Sky asks. Well, how about we set up my tent only? Since it's a big tent for all, and all of us can fit in it, I said, looking at the others. I set up the tent and we all get in. I zip up the tent and we all fell asleep. Everyone was fast asleep. I was still awake. I looked over at Zuma, who was sleeping peacefully. How did things turn out like this? I thought to myself. Things were normal over the weekend. I hear a noise in the distance, so I grab my camcorder, unzip the tent, and turn on the flashlight. I can hear something in the distance, I said silently. I listen closer to the noise to see if I can make out what it is. The noise stopped. I went back into my tent and zipped up the tent. I lied down trying to go back to sleep, but for some reason, I couldn't. I sighed as I stare up at the top of the tent. I began to feel tired moments later. Just then I heard a voice in the distance. Is that Wubble? I thought to myself. I got up quietly and grabbed my camcorder on the way out in the tent along with my flashlight. I turned on my flashlight and started went into the woods. A few minutes later, I couldn't find him. Wubble! Wubble! I yelled. I turned and swirled around searching for Wubble. Wubble! Wubble! I yelled again. I heard Wubble's voice again. It began running towards his direction. As I was running, I tripped over something and fell pretty hard on the point where I passed out. I woke up hours later and it was morning. I picked myself up and picked up the camcorder and saw it was still recording. I thought it was starting to hit back before getting everyone worried. As I walked back, I looked over the footage of my custody. I saw that I was knocked out from 3:24 a.m. to 7:32 a.m. Shit. Everyone must be by now worried, wondering where I am. I thought to myself as I began jogging. I keep looking down the footage until I hear an excited and relieved voice call out to me. Chase! I look up to see Marshall waiting up to me, hugging me tightly. Chase, where were you? I woke up and you wasn't in the tent, Marshall says in a shaking voice. I smiled and patted his head. Don't worry about it, bud. I'm not going to leave my crew, especially you, I said, giving him a hug. We headed back to the tent and everyone was relieved. Gosh darn it, Chase. Nearly give us a fucking heart attack, Rocky says. I was worried about you, Sky adds. Jeez, dude, where did you even go? Zuma asks. Well, it was weird. Last night I thought I heard Wubble's voice, but I went to go look for him. I fell and sort of knocked myself out, I said. Wait, you heard Wubble's voice? Marshall asks. I nodded and saw like a sudden faces stared at me. Well, where is he? Sky asks. I looked down. I don't know what to say to her. I didn't find him since I was knocked out, I said, looking on the ground. Everyone sighs and disappointed. Hell, even I thought to myself. Should we try to attempt to see if we can get to the parking lot? I asked, looking at everyone. They all look at me with tired and stressed looks on their faces. So that's a no, I'm guessing. For the rest of the day, we all stayed inside the tent to keep everyone sane. We told funny, embarrassing stories about each other. Remember that one time on Easter when we were helping Mel Goodway and Montreal sprayed Walkie with purple and orange paint? Zimmer says, laughing a little. Everyone laughed, even Walkie. I remember that one time when Zimmer's sailboard thinly broke, and Walkie said it was hopeless, and the look on Zimmer's face after he told him that. Montreal says, giving a small chuckle. Dude, you know that how that meant to me, Zimmer said, chuckling. We keep talking until the moon rides. Dude, I'm starving, Zimmer says, placing his paw on his stomach. Same, we all replied. We could hear all the stomachs growling. Maybe if we sleep, we could forget about it, Marta says, looking at us. Maybe, I replied. We all fell asleep shortly after. I woke up to the sounds of screaming. I jumped up and turned on the flashlight, knocking over my bag, which had a camcorder inside. The camcorder fell out and turned on the recording, the whole thing. I shined the light on where the scream come from, and I saw a horrible sight. Sky, I said with a shaky voice. I saw Sky slice this body in a pool of own blood, with a three of my friends eating her insides. I watched her and my friends eat her guts, making a mess inside my tent. Montre looked at me with his deep ocean eyes. Oh, Chase, you're awake, he says with his mouth full. What have you done? I yelled to them. He swallowed the stuff in his mouth and turned to me, walking towards me. Chase, don't you get it? We're starving. You're starving. And if we have to eat one of our friends, then so be it. Montreal stares into my eyes and places his paw on my shoulder. Chase, we're best friends. Would you rather go one more day without eating? Or would you rather eat your best friend's insides to survive? He asked me with his blood-stained mouth. I stared at him, then at Sky's body. I then walked up to her and closed my eyes and did the unthinkable, and I ate her insides. I felt slimy insects going down my throat. I even gagged and almost throwing up at some point. We really need to fucking leave this fucking hellhole, I thought to myself, trying to ignore the fact I'm eating one of my damn friends. After that happened, I sat down, turning my eyes on my fur covered in blood that wasn't even mine. Walkie, Zimmer, and Montreal stared at me with understanding looks. I sent back to reality and heard something from the distance. Wait, do you guys hear that? I said quietly. The three of them listened closely, and they heard the noise too and agreed. It was silent again, but it didn't last long, when a large stick snapped right next to us and our tent began shaking. We all screamed loud. I got my flashlight in the camcorder, and then we all went out of the tent and went in the one direction deep into the woods. We ran for almost hours, silent except for us screaming in fear. I continued running until I tripped onto something and tumbling down into some sort of ditch. After landing, I was knocked out again, and my camcorder was still recording. I woke up hours later. I saw my camcorder and picked it up. Marshall? I said, looking around. I stand up, feeling my legs tired to the point where I almost fell over. Marshall! Where are you? I yelled out. climbing out of the ditch, getting my fur all dirty. I carried my camcorder in my mouth as I used my paws to push my body up. I made it out and picked up my camcorder up. I ran through the forest calling out my friends' names. Marshall! Zuma! Lucky! Wait, maybe they're at the tent. I thought to myself. I went back to the tent, but after I got there, I see a chilling sight. The tent was swept open, and there was a bunch of stick figures around, tied up in the trees. I got close to one and pulled up my camera out and took a clear picture of it. I stared at the stick figures, trying to figure out what it meant. I quickly realized I still needed to find my friends and ran off to find them. Marshall! Zuma! Lucky! I called out. I kept running through the woods, trying to find them. If I can't find that fucking parking lot, then how the fuck can I find my friends? I thought to myself, stressing out. Marshall! Chase? A faint voice was heard, a familiar voice to be a fact. Marshall? I went towards the voice and I saw a lost Dalmatian wandering around, cold and scared. Marshall! I yelled out and went towards him. He turned towards me and began crying, and he went towards me. When we got closer, we hugged each other. He cried at my shoulder. He cried hard, and I could feel him shaking from being scared. Shh. It's okay, buddy. Shh. I'm here. I said, rubbing his back. He calms down a little, breathing slowly. Where are the others? I asked him. He shrugs and looks at me. We went in different directions. We lost each other while running, he explains. I don't know where they are, he adds. Well, let's go find them, I said, holding his paws into mine. Chase, we can't find our way back to the parking lot. How the hell can we find Rocky and Zuma? Marshall says with a shaky voice. By sniffing the scents, I said, putting my paw at my nose. I got closer to the ground and began sniffing to the dirt and picked up a certain scent. I think I know where Rocky and Zuma are at, I said, wagging my tail. We both went to the direction of where I smelled the scent and continued on. We went for almost an hour until we ran. Yes, literally ran into Zuma and Rocky. Zuma! I yelled with relief. Chase! Rocky and Zuma yelled also in relief. Marshall! The Dalmatian yelled out randomly. Marshall! Rocky and Zuma yelled again with relief. Where have you both been? Rocky says. We've been searching for you guys. I fell into the ditch and passed out, I said, scratching my head with my paw. I continued running, but we somehow ended up away from each other. I gave up and just fell asleep on the ground. When I woke up, I tried to figure out where our tent was, so I tried to walk back, Marshall says, embarrassed. But then Chase found me, and now I'm safe, he adds. I remember about the tent and the weird stick figures, so I spoke up. Well, I went back to the tent, and well, it's destroyed. And I saw these weird stick figures, and I took a picture of one, and here, I'll show you all, I said, pulling my camera out and pulling up the photo. Walking Zuma looks at the photo, creeped out. Oh my gosh! What is that? Waki asks. I shrugged my shoulders. I don't know, but there were a lot of them near out the tent, I said, putting my camera away. We need to get the fuck out of here, Zuma says. Me and Marshall nodded and we tried to figure it out where to run. Gah! Where the fuck do we go? Waki says. We all turn and swirl around, but every time the woods looked the same, as there was no way out. Oh my gosh. I can't stay here much longer. We need to find a way out. Zuma begins to panic. Waki tried to calm him down by hugging him. Just then I hear Wubble's voice screaming. Guys! Guys! I yelled. They all turned to me. What? Mantra asked. I heard Wubble's voice. It sounded like he screamed. Maybe he needs help. Let's go, come on. Zuma says, running off. No! Zuma! Wait! Waki yells as we ran after the chocolate lab. Me and Mantra went after him. Me and Mantra went after them. We make it to an abandoned house. Zuma went inside the house and began calling out to Wubble. I noticed after I got closer to the house, it became dark and thundering. What the? Whatever, I said, dragging Mantra inside the house. Zuma! Waki! I yelled. I gripped Mantra's paw, not letting go. Just then we heard the floor creak above us. They must be upstairs, Mantra says, looking up. We both got up the stairs to see Waki functionally searching for Zuma. Guys, where's Zuma? I can't find him anywhere, he says, searching every room. I noticed my camcorder was on and my claw holds it facing Waki. We'll help you find Zuma. Don't worry, I said, looking at him. We then heard something coming from downstairs, and Waki watches past us down the stairs. He goes, Zuma! Zuma! Waki yells, running downstairs. Wait! Waki, wait! I called out to him, chasing after him. We saw him running down another flight of stairs, possibly down to the basement. Shit! He went to the basement. We need to get him out of here, Marshall says. Okay, we gotta get to Waki and get the fuck out of this hellhole, I said with confidence, but with instant tone. Me and Marshall went down the basement, and we began searching for Waki. After I checked one of the rooms, I heard Marshall scream. I went to Marshall, staring with something, with widened and tear-filled eyes. What's wrong? What happened? I said, staring at him. He pointed his paw at the thing he sees, and I look over to Waki and Zuma hanging from nooses, facing each other. I feel like I was about to vomit, and I dragged Mantra out of the basement. After we made out of the basement, we tried to leave through the front door, but as soon as we got close, the door slams in front of our faces. No! No! No, 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 no! I yelled, trying to kick the door down. Chase! Chase! Mantra says, tapping my side. I look at Mantra, then I notice something. A tall, spindly creature with long, black stuff for hair. Something wrapped around its body. Mold and stuff growing on its body walks around in the next room. We stare at it, but it hasn't noticed us. Let's go upstairs now, I whispered to Marshall. We tried to go upstairs, but the floorboard creaked loud. Then it got the creature's attention and began to run to us. Run! 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 I yelled and began running up to the stairs. We ran throughout the house, up more stairs until we came to the attic. And we closed the door onto whatever it was chased us. Bright lights beamed through the boarded up windows. Then we hear the creature breaking in. I grabbed Mantra and took him one of the corners inside the attic. We both stared in the corner. That's when the creature broke through the door. We both stood there, helpless. I could hear Mantra crying softly next to me. Mantra, don't cry. It'll be okay. I'm here with you. I said through my tears in a shaky voice. Chase, I want to go home, he said, swinging my paw. Me too, buddy. I promise. We'll go home together, I said, still crying. We keep staring to the corner, now looking at the creature. Ryder, you're here, Marshall suddenly says. I look over to him with a confused look. Marshall, who are you talking to? I asked, staring at him. He then turns around, winding at him, and got pulled by something and being killed. I stood there, bawling my eyes out, my shaky breath. I look at my camcorder that was still whirring. I look in the reflection of the camcorder to see if I could see the creature without directly looking at it. My shaking body making the camcorder shake in my claw, which made it harder to see. I saw the creature standing in the corner back against the wall. I screamed as I shrieked, seeing the headless the thing standing there. I looked in the camcorder again and it was gone, but I was scared to turn around. I walked backwards towards the door, staring to my camcorder. I continued walking backwards until I heard Marshall's voice. I wanted to turn around, but I was still scared. No, it can't be. I saw him die. It's tricking me, I thought to myself. I thought about what to do, then I got an idea. I closed my eyes and ripped a big chunk of my police uniform and had my claw tied over my eyes. I turned around and began walking carefully, hearing Marshall's voice while walking. I began to speed walk. Then I started running towards the door and breaking it open. I still had the blindfold over my eyes. I continued running until I went to a tree. That's when I took the blindfold off and started with Sunny. I stood up, continued walking, camcorder in my claw still, and that's when I noticed a familiar sight. I looked up to see the parking lot in the distance. I didn't care anymore. I just walked away and looked at Marshall's truck, got in, and started it, then drove it to home. I sat there staring at Officer Bingle, who was staring at me with that. What the fuck is wrong with him? Look. Okay, so tell me, what happened to your eye? Why is it bandaged? He says to me. I looked down the table, still tumbling in fear. I took a deep breath in and out. When I was running away from the house, I sort of tripped on something. I think it was a tree route, but I fell and yet punched my eye pretty badly, I said, remembering the horrible pain I felt gripping my punch eye. I see. Okay, so now tell me, what happened after you made it to the parking lot and took your friend's fire truck? He said, staring at me. After I got to the lookout, Ryder saw me like this. He asked what happened to me. I didn't say anything, I said to him. He looks at me. The fucking cop dog thinks I'm some crazy fucking lunatic making up stories. Well, your story is interesting, Chase, but some reason part of me thinks you're making it up, he says. This fucking dickwad. I'm a gosh darn cop. Why would I make this shit up? I thought to myself, staring into the dog's eyes. But hear me out. Another part of me does believe if you bought the evidence, he says. I dug through my bag and pulled out my camcorder and looked dirty and broken, but still unusable. Oh, the camcorder you mentioned so many times in your story, he says, shocked. He walks over to me, takes it, and leaves the room, leaving me in the investigation room with nothing but the metal room, 3 chairs, this table, and that fucking fake mirror with the officers watching. My traumatic documentary.